Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to go ahead and begin today's training exercise in the Selerix system. Today we'll be going over how to perform life events on employees in the system. I'm currently working in the GDP demo case like we normally do, so it will be all fake data, but we will go through the steps on how to perform life events. Once you log into the Selerix system, as you can see on my screen, it takes you to the home page, and we will go and search for an employee. Once we've located our employee, we will click on the employee. Here's the employee home page with all of their basic data information that we entered into the system when we created this employee. From here, you can see the coverages that were elected. And over here on this tab is where the Life Events tab is located. We will click on this Life Events tab. And here it will tell us our different options for performing a life event in the system. Right now, my benefits are only at the employee child level. So we will go ahead and go in here and do the I recently got married or became a party to a civil union and click next. And then here is where HR would enter in the information in order to complete this life event. So we'll say the date of the marriage here. And we will put in my spouse's information. And then we will click next. And this is where you would enter in your employee PIN. And now it's letting you know that I'm eligible to enroll my spouse or change my tier for the health plan due to the marriage. And if this is something that your employee is wanting to do, then you would select the health box and you would click next. And here's where it will let me pick my plans and go ahead and add in the information needed. So you can see here, if I click employee spouse, it's going to remove my child. So always remember that you want to click the employee family option when you've added a spouse, and you want to keep the child covered. And then you would click enroll. And this is where you would just verify that everyone that you need to be covered is covered. And you would click confirm. And then again, here is the sign and submit review. And then I will sign the confirmation page with my admin PIN. And now we have successfully performed the life event due to a marriage and added the spouse and enrolled the spouse and changed the coverage tier for this employee. And you can click log out. And then we can go back to this employee just to verify that the life event was in fact performed. We can check coverage on the coverage tab. And you can now see that I have family health coverage with the effective date of 4/8 as of when the marriage took place. And then on the demographics tab, you can see now my spouse is listed as one of my dependents. Other life events that you may need. When your employees change to a new location, sometimes these come over on a census as a termination due to your payroll system. And that causes an error in our system. So when an employee changes a location, we don't see that in the Selerix system as a termination. We see that as a life event, and you can do it through this way, or you just change the location on the census. You never want to put a term date when an employee is just changing to a new location. So in order to do it via live event and not on the census upload, you would check this box here that says I changed job status, changed salary, or transferred to a new location. So with this live event, you can transfer the employee to a new location. If they change job status, as in they went from part-time to full-time, full-time hourly to full-time salary, any of those type of situations, and if their salary changed, you can also update it via the live event as well. And you click next. And here we're just going to verify the information. If the salary is staying the same, you don't have to change that. If the job class is changing, then you would change that here. And then you could transfer this person to the new location as well. And the date of the change, you can change that to today, or you could change that, you know, if it was Monday, you could change it to Monday's date. And then you would click next, and you would just enter in your admin PIN. And you can see here that the employee is keeping these benefits. Sometimes with a location change or a job class change, the employee would be eligible for certain benefits depending on how your enrollment website is set up. So to keep it the same, you just click next. We'll go ahead and sign today's date showing for that location change. And again, you would just log out. If you wanted to verify that you did it correctly, you just go back into that employee, and you can see here the change. Also, you're able to pull up the form from the Forms tab if the employee would like a copy of where the location change did in fact take place in the system. You can see over here on the Coverage tab that everything stayed the same. We did not even have to touch the coverage. Also, you can see that there are other life event situations that need to be done in the system. Some of you may or may not be aware of that that's the proper way or this is the proper channel on how to go about doing this. If my spouse that I just added had a change in employment status and he now has a job that will allow him to enroll in benefits, I would use the My Spouse Has Changed Employment Status option. And as HR, we get a copy of the new benefits so that the carrier, if they request that, the carrier can have access to show proof that the spouse does in fact have benefits elsewhere. And as long as it's been done within the 30 days, then the carrier will allow for the spouse to be dropped off the insurance. But you would conduct that here in a life event as well. Once my dependent has reached legal age, I can cancel that dependent via life event here. If your spouse or one of your dependents is now deceased, you would absolutely do the life event as well in the system and get a copy of the death certificate for the carrier. If I had a new child or adopted a child or regained custody of a child, I would also perform the life event here. If my spouse and I got divorced, this life event would also take place. If your employee contacted you and said that they changed their address, you would do that in here, which is important when it comes time for ACA reporting that we have the correct address on file, as well as for their ID cards. If your ID cards are mailed directly to your employees, you would want to update the address here so that we're not issuing new ID cards because it was sent to the wrong address, or if they don't get their ACA form as they wanted. So in order to do this life change, you would just come in here and enter in the new address. Pretty basic. And you would click next and sign like you have been. And now the address has been changed. You can also do this via the census upload. You would just put the new address on the address line for the employee, and that's all that would need to be done. So that's the basic reporting that I was going to do for you guys to show you how to do life events in the system. At this time, if you have any questions, you can type it into the question box, and I'll do my best to answer any questions that you might have. When completing life events, it is still okay to contact us at the GDP office if you have questions or would like for us to complete these life events for you. That's okay. But you can feel free to complete these life events on your own. If you would like for me just to check, or if you have a quick question prior to completing a life event, that's perfectly fine. I don't mind helping you guys. And if you complete a life event and then you think maybe I shouldn't have, I don't mind going in there and resetting or checking anything to make sure that nothing else happened within that employee. I don't see any questions at this time. Let's see, I'm going to check again, refresh. Okay. Well, if no one has any questions, this will be just a quick training session today. I will be saving this video out there on our YouTube channel, and it will be available if you ever need a reference back to it. I thank you for joining today. Thank you.